Yo, this is Ty, the official TAI. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I got something special. You know we got to be purposeful. I know I haven't said that in a while, but that is still the ultimate goal. And today, I want to educate you on Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth Day. Happy Freedom Day. Happy Jubilee Day. Did y'all know that today, Juneteenth, as in June 19th, was a day that African Americans was considered, I should say slaves, were considered to be freed. Like freed. Not 2 years before that when it was declared by the President Lincoln. No, but actual freed.
Yo, this is Ty. Welcome to the official TAI channel. Stay tuned.
That's right, you heard me. Which means that over 150 years ago is when the slaves in the United States were declared to be freed citizens of the United States. Granted, 2 years ago, President Lincoln actually is the one that declared the Emancipation of Proclamation and actually said that the slaves were to be freed. But somehow the messenger that was supposed to go from state to state and let all the states know, basically, because they didn't have the internet, they didn't have all the equipment that we have to be able to, obviously communicate information instantaneously, I should say. So somehow the messenger didn't get the message to Texas, which was like one of the main states, that it took them particularly 2 years later to actually declare that over, let's see. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I got to be purposeful with it. So 250,000 slaves is what Texas, the state alone, had. And like I said, somehow it took the messenger more time than all the other states, than several other states, I should say, to get the message to them that the slaves were actually declared as free. 1863. So here it is, actually fast forwarding 2 years later to 1865, where finally Texas got the memo, got the message, and now all the slaves are free. Like I said, it was over 250,000 slaves. Like, how did you not get the message? But come to find out, it's led to believe that they just wanted another year harvest, because they needed us to pick cotton for another year, because again, this land was built on our backs. Okay, so again, happy Freedom Day. This is to all African Americans all over the United States. You need to actually acknowledge that today is not the 4th of July. Today is our Independence Day, Juneteenth, June 19th. And again, back from 1865, not 63, when the Emancipation Proclamation was actually declared by President Lincoln, because it didn't take effect. So, like I said, there's other states, such as Texas, that still continued it for another. So let me take a step back for you. Okay, the Emancipation Proclamation was issued, you can say, by President Lincoln on January 1st of 1863. I need y'all to hear these years. Look how long ago this was, and we're still having the situation, the problems that we're having today in the world. But that's besides the point. Right now, we're going to talk about Jubilee Day. We're going to talk about Freedom Day. We're going to talk about the day that the slaves was actually made free, which was 2 years later in June. June 19th, get it? Juneteenth. June 19th of 1865 is your Independence Day. Okay? It's your Independence Day. It's not the 4th of July. That was the Independence Day for the majority, what they call the majority. In my world, I am a majority. So the 4th of July is not actually your Independence Day. If you want to look at it, you can say you have two and feel that much more special about yourself. But as African Americans, I need you all to be educated, to be purposeful. I need you to know what you're hearing, what you're saying, what you're doing. I need you to know what the world is talking about in your reference. We already know what's going on in the world right now. So in addition to that, this is that much of a reason why we need to acknowledge Juneteenth. June 19th of 1865 is when the slaves were actually freed. Not declared free, not signed on a piece of paper on the Emancipation Proclamation or anything like that, but actually freed. Like, our people was able to walk down the street and not be whipped, which is like mind-blowing to me, but we're not going to get into that. That's not what we're here for today. Today, we're here to rejoice, not just for our ancestors, but for what they did for us, for what they sacrificed for us. Somebody must have had something in their head that over 150 years later, we were going to know that what all our ancestors and slaves went through to get me to this point, to get you to land that particular job that you have right now, to get you to be able to have that credit score. Whatever it is you have going on for your life, for yourself right now, you need to enlighten that. You need to know that somebody fought for you to get to that point. So again, happy Jubilee Day, okay? Happy Freedom Day. Yes, y'all see the shirt? This is not for the 4th of July. This is for Juneteenth. This is for June 19th. Yes, we have the watermelon. So all of my fellow melanin citizens of the United States, I want you to rejoice today. Happy Jubilee Day. Happy Freedom Day. Your ancestors died, cried, scratched, were killed all types of ways. We already know how slavery was crazy, hung, but we're not going to go there either. I want you to rejoice. I want you to acknowledge this. Take the time to have moments like this with your family, even if you do still celebrate 4th of July or have a cookout, because it's not really celebrating it. We just really looking for a reason to cook out and get together and things like that. Let that be number 2, but let number 1 be Juneteenth, June 19th. Okay? Let it be particularly for that day. If you really don't know that much and you're not really into reading and things like that, actually look at the episode from Blackish. Blackish has several segments to the episode, but if you watch the full episode, they're breaking down what Juneteenth is, breaking down the Indians, the Christopher Columbus, all that good stuff. So shout out to Blackish. I know a lot of people don't really watch that show, but if you really take the time, it's actually informative. It's actually purposeful. So you know I can appreciate that, because that's our word, purposeful. At any rate, again, we got the watermelon for my melanin citizens, peers, family members, you know, all that good stuff. And then I keep dipping my fingers in this mashed potatoes and gravy. I had to go. I said, you know what? It's not just about watermelon. We got the fried chicken too, y'all. So again, this is just a stereotype. I just brought this here to get your attention. This is just a stereotype. This is not what makes black people. This is not what determines if you're blacker than black. This is not what determines if you're more hood than the other. No. We like watermelon because watermelon is good, just like you do. We like fried chicken because fried chicken is good, just like you do. Or anybody else would, basically. But actually, I did a little research on a watermelon. Did you know that there's something called a hibiscus plant, which is red, which was brought over from the slaves from other countries when they came over to the U.S. and, you know, unfortunately other countries as well that they were exported to give free labor, whatever that means. Again, we're not going to get into that too heavy because that's a whole deep topic. But anyway, there's something called a hibiscus plant. And when the slaves came over with it, from my understanding of it, it's like a reddish, looks like blood. It's like symbolic. So in my eyes, I'm seeing that this watermelon and how the slaves ate it, how we all eat it, how it is a fake description of a black person, I should say, or an African American person, that, oh, everybody that's black likes watermelon. Not necessarily true, because everybody is allergic to something, first of all. Let's just go there. But at any rate, this is actually symbolic to the hibiscus plant, which is, when I saw it, it was like a dried plant that was like a burnt red, a dark red, a burgundy. And what it was symbolic. It was symbolic for the blood of all the slaves that actually died for us today, that died and sacrificed themselves, their family, their husbands, things like that, just to ensure that, one, they got by, you know, day by day. And I don't fault any of our slaves, any of our ancestors for anything that they subjected themselves to or was in a position to do just to get by. But again, the hibiscus plant, it's red, bloody red type thing, like old blood red, burgundy reddish. Think of that, okay? And it then became symbolic to the watermelon. The watermelon, a good watermelon, and I'm sure you can see this, a good watermelon is not pink, it's not pale, it is red. Okay, so it's symbolic to the blood that was shed, the blood that was, I don't even want to get into that. Just the blood that was unfortunately taken out of our slaves, our ancestors, for us to be here today. And then in turn another 150 years from now. But 150 years ago is when slavery was actually done, like the done. Not declared in 1863, but actually really done. So I just want to try to get that little education on the watermelon itself. Yes, we like it because we like it. It has nothing to do with being black or any of those stereotypes. We're not subject to what people think. We're subject to what we know. So this is why I want you to be purposeful and be educated on the symbolism of a watermelon. Then we got to the fried chicken. Fried chicken is good. And we also all know that fried chicken is good the next day. You know why? Because it's marinated. Because all that it's been through has been sucked in. And it's still blossom. It's still awesome. If anything, like we all said, fried chicken is good the next day. You know why? Because it's preserved. Just like you as the African American, you are preserved. All of our slaves, all of everyone that was involved in the slavery times, all of our ancestors, they were that first day of that fried chicken. Okay? And then over time, which at this point is 150 years later, this fried chicken, is even better the day after because we're marinated, we're soaked in, and we have everything that our ancestors did for us, even down to the blood that they shed for us, into this fried chicken. If you really think about it in a symbolic way, like, you are special, you are melanin. Okay? There are different shades of us, there's different personalities of us, but at the end of the day, we all have ancestors that have died for us. Okay? That have been sacrificed for us. So go ahead and preserve. Go ahead and love that fried chicken. But don't let it describe who you are as a race. Don't let it describe who you are as a person, or a minority, which is in some people's eyes. To me, I'm a majority, because the majority of me as a person wants to be greater than who I was yesterday. And that's what I challenge everyone to be. It has nothing to do with your upbringing or anything like that. But what are you going to make out of it today? Are you going to use the symbolism? Are you going to use the different things in life that took us to the next level before you even got here, before you even thought of? Or are you going to allow people and their different stereotypes to proclaim who you are and who your future is and who you're going to be, and project all these other things? No, that's not what our ancestors did any of this for. It was to take us to the next level. Okay, y'all, but nonetheless, we also here for a mukbang. Okay? Yes, I have the watermelon, the symbolic watermelon. Don't just call it a watermelon because I'm black and I like watermelon. It's because it's symbolic, from the hibiscus plant, from slavery. If you want to really get deep with me. Then I got the fried chicken. We like fried chicken because we like fried chicken. You like fried chicken too. You might just not know how to make it the way we make it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start eating. I wish I had a fork. Didn't think that far. So we're going to start off with the chicken first. I don't have hot sauce, but I am hungry, so it doesn't even matter at this point. So I'm going to tear up this chicken. And I was like, wait, this ain't symbolic enough for me. I'm trying to be purposeful with it. Y'all already know. So when I'm in my educating mode, I want y'all to really know. But yes, I am going to sit here and eat this watermelon and this fried chicken in front of y'all. I do have some mashed potatoes and gravy, but we'll see. But why do black people like watermelon? Why do black people like fried chicken? Because it's good. Because you like it too. That's why. It has nothing to do with a stereotype. It's just hungry today. I may not have my hot sauce though. Okay. Back to this symbolic hibiscus plant. While I'm eating this, I really don't want to think about the blood that was shed from the slaves. How this is red and, symbolic because of that. I just want to enjoy it just like you would, because it's a freaking watermelon. That's why. And it's juicy too, y'all. You know how sometimes you get a watermelon that's all like light skin looking on the inside? This one is red. This is awesome sauce. Let me use a fork. I'm trying to be cute, but. And yes, I am natural today. Shout out to me, y'all. I wanted you all to see how my melanin is. Yeah, we all get glammed up for the camera. Yeah, we all put on a wig, a weave, whatever the case is, all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we are all the same. Okay, we are human. My life matters. Your life matters. More importantly, because of what's going on, Black Lives Matter. But ultimately, of course, all lives matter. We just need to bring attention to the fact that our lives do matter. So again, happy Juneteenth. This one bigger than half my face. All right, I'm not gonna keep doing this and get it all wet like my kids would do. So I'm gonna get a little cute. I'm gonna see what I can do with this plastic fork. I did make sure I got one that was seedless. I don't know if that's symbolic or anything like that, but I just wanted the watermelon to eat the watermelon. But it's so juicy. You can tell. Ooh. Oh, shoot. See? I ain't lying. Y'all saw that juice fall? But, yeah. I just wanted y'all to be educated on what Juneteenth is. It's not a day. Actually, let me look at my notes. Currently, there's 47 states out of the 50. 47 states that declared it as a state holiday. Eventually, it's going to be a government holiday. And let freedom ring. Happy Freedom Day. Because eventually, this is going to be an actual national holiday. And certain jobs and things like that, you'll be off for this. We got Columbus Day. Why not have Freedom Day? Maybe because it's contradictory. But that's a whole nother video. We're not going to go there, y'all. We're not going to go there. Just educate yourself. Just be purposeful. Don't walk around this world aimlessly. You need to know what's going on. But this watermelon is juicy, though. I ain't even going to lie. See how red this is? Right. In conclusion to everything I just said, I know some of you are like, what the heck is going on? I thought she was just going to have a mukbang with watermelon. And then some of you are like, she's right. At the end of all of this, I want you to really consider, are we really free? Do we really have that freedom? What about Mr. Floyd that just passed away? What about all the other African Americans that just passed away from violent situations? Cops on black crime, as well as black on black crime. Again, I just want y'all to think back to all of this. Are we really free? On paper, we're free. And right after, 1865, Juneteenth, June 19th of 1865, then for, about 100 years, we went through something that was called the Jim Crow era, which is basically, it was a slave owner, obviously not African American. There was a slave owner who wrote something on telling all the different slave owners how to keep African Americans mentally enslaved, to think that they can't get to that next level, to think that no, they're not competent enough to accomplish that on their own, or to think that yes, we are a minority, not the majority. So it's all mental. So it went from physical, is pretty much what slavery was, with the cotton picking and everything, and it was mental. Don't get me wrong, I don't take any of that from them. So it just went in phases to now it's at a mental oppression, I should say, for the African American community. So I want y'all to just be open-minded about that. Think of how many times you went to the store and there's more white dolls than black dolls. Again, this is the part of the manipulation to make you think, okay, perhaps I am inferior. Perhaps I am that minority, but you're not. You're not. Again, you are not. I just want to reiterate that to you, that we are still going through some things. Obviously, this is the Corona time and things like that. This is the Floyd time and things like that with, cop crime and things like that. But it didn't only just start with cops. And let's just be real about it. It didn't really start just with cops. It's just the whole mental Jim Crow, again, on how to keep a slave mentally enslaved, is pretty much what I'm getting out of all of this. It's all about your mindset. It's all about you being purposeful and having a plan for tomorrow, not just living for that day, not just living for that moment. You're living for your grandkids, and so on. What you want to do is just keep fighting that fight. If, let's say, you are terminated or possibly terminated from a job, Don't back down and say, okay, maybe I was wrong, and you know you had a story to tell. No, appeal it. Most jobs, you have like 14 days to appeal. Don't just let it go. Us as a African American community, we have a tendency to give up. We have a tendency to say, okay, whatever. Or we have a tendency to allow what's considered the majority in the United States to declare whether or not you're worthy enough for that position or that company or that business or that AGI or that income. No. Unless you God above, you can't tell me that I'm not good enough for this. Or you can't tell me that I'm not good enough for that. Okay? So we just have to get out of this brainwash stage. Jim Crow, the lynch letter, again, they were just pretty much telling slave owners how to keep us still enslaved, how to keep us still to feel inferior, the minority. That's not the case. That is not the case. We run the world. We take just as much of a part in this world as any other race does. Take advantage of that. And as we get ourselves out of this manipulative state, this Jim Crow state of mind, this keeping slaves mentally enslaved, support your black businesses. Support your small black businesses, big black businesses, black banks. We're making moves. Okay, African Americans have just as big of a stamp on the United States, on the world, as any other race. So the last thing we are is inferior, or the minority, because I don't know what you're calculating, but in my world, it's just as many of us as it is you or any other race. Let me take y'all back to the Black Wall Street. And I know I'm going all over the place with this. I just want to empower y'all. I just want y'all to get to the point that you know that black is beautiful. Your melanin, my melanin, her melanin, that mixed kid's melanin is beautiful. Okay, and we're conquerors. We're more than conquerors. So back to the Black Wall Street. Apparently, there was some African American men and women that obviously weren't minorities, because you thought with the majority of your brain to know that I don't have to submit myself to conform to what some people are telling me that I need to in order to get by. No, I'm just as good to own a bank, to have a business, or to be a homeowner. I'm just as good. And that's when Black Wall Street was created years ago. But you know what happened? We became so independent. We became so incredible that somehow that was deteriorated, that was burnt down, that was bombed, whatever the case is. It was taken down right before our eyes, before the black community, before the African American community really got a light switch that came off and said, we can do this on our own. Most people probably didn't want to see a white side of the world and a black side, I should say of the United States, excuse me, because we were actually more independent than what we were led to believe, than what we were taught. We were coming out of that slavery mindset that there's so much more to this world. I can do exactly what you do, and I probably could do it better. Sports, cooking, medical profession, taking care of kids. We have it all. All we have to do is stick together and become that unit, that union, that African American community, United States wide, that we really are. Think about it. Everywhere you go, every state, there's a hood. There's a community. There's some place where you can actually, in that case, impact others to think better, to do better, to want more. Get them out of that mental slavery mindset. Change your mind for today. How about that? Change your mind. Get out of that slavery mindset, because it's not physically, it's not in our face, it's not tangible, but you have doubt within yourself. Sometimes you go to someone of another race to give you clarity, to give you a boost on how good you are, or to let you know how good you aren't doing. You can come up to that conclusion on your own or by your own peers.